Have you ever wondered how a man could lose the most beloved thing in his life, yet never lose his faith in Allah? How a heart filled with pain could still shine with patience and hope? This is the story of Prophet Yaqub, peace be upon him, a story of love, family, and the power of patience. Stay to the end, because what happens later in his life will teach us one of the greatest lessons ever told in history. Before we begin, don't forget to subscribe and comment if you want to hear more true stories of the prophets, stories that touch your heart and strengthen your faith. Now, let's begin a journey back in time. The birth and blessing of Yaqub, the land of Canaan, lay calm under a golden sunrise. It was a peaceful morning, a kind of morning when the wind carries blessings. Inside a simple tent stood an elderly man with gentle eyes, Prophet Ishaq, the son of Prophet Ibrahim. He and his wife were smiling with tears of joy, for Allah had blessed them with a baby boy. They named him Yaqub, a name that would one day be remembered across centuries. The baby was wrapped in a white cloth, and it seemed as if light surrounded him, a glow that wasn't from the sun, but from Allah's blessing. Even as a newborn, there was peace around him, a calmness that touched every heart in the tent. Prophet Ishaq looked at his child and said softly, "This child will be among the chosen ones of Allah. He will carry the message of truth and patience." The family rejoiced. The sheep outside grazed quietly. The wind whispered softly, and the sky seemed brighter than usual. From that day, the name Yaqub was written among the line of noble prophets, descendants of Ibrahim, who carried the light of guidance from one generation to the next. Years passed. Yaqub grew surrounded by faith, wisdom, and kindness. He wasn't a child who liked playing in loud crowds. Instead, he loved to listen, observe, and think deeply. He would sit beside his father and listen to stories of Prophet Ibrahim, how he built the Kaaba, how he trusted Allah, and how patience always brings reward. Each word settled in Yaqub's heart like a seed, growing into strong faith. Yaqub growing with wisdom as time went on. Yaqub became a young man, calm, humble, and full of wisdom beyond his years. He often walked in the meadows near Canaan, watching his family's sheep, surrounded by the quiet beauty of nature. Imagine the golden evening light falling across the hills, the soft sound of bells on the sheep, and the cool breeze of peace. There under the shade of a tree, Yaqub would sit and reflect on the greatness of Allah. He didn't chase after wealth or fame. His heart was filled with gratitude. He knew that true peace came only from remembering Allah. Sometimes he would look at the stars, the same stars his grandfather Ibrahim once looked at when searching for the truth, and whisper prayers of thankfulness. He knew that every star in the sky, every drop of rain, every grain of sand was a sign of Allah's power and mercy. Prophet Ishaq often saw his son, lost in deep thought, and would smile. He knew that Yaqub's heart was pure. He could see that Allah had chosen him for a special purpose, to continue the light of prophethood. One evening, Ishaq called his son and said, "My beloved Yaqub, remember this world is a test. Never let pride or anger rule your heart. Be kind, be patient, and guide people towards the truth." Yaqub listened carefully, lowering his head with respect. He said softly, "The family of Yaqub, years later, Prophet Ishaq, passed away, and Yaqub carried on his father's mission, spreading truth, kindness, and the message of Allah. He grew into a strong, wise man, and eventually had a large, beautiful family. He had 12 sons, and among them was one who was especially dear to him, Yusuf, the son of great character and light. Yaqub loved all his sons, but Yusuf had something special, a calmness and purity that reminded him of his own youth. Inside their desert tent, Yaqub would gather his sons every morning. The air would still be cool, and the first rays of sunlight would shine through the tent cloth. He would sit with them, speaking softly about Allah's blessings, the importance of honesty, and the value of patience. "My sons," he would say, "never forget that Allah sees what is hidden and knows what's in every heart. Be kind to others, and remember, every good deed you do will return to you one day." His sons would listen, some eagerly, some with curiosity, and others perhaps distracted as children sometimes are. But the words of their father sank deep into their hearts. He taught them to pray, to respect their elders, and to be thankful for every meal they ate. Even when they worked with the sheep or traveled through the valleys, Yaqub reminded them to say, Bismillah before every task. At night, when the stars covered the sky, Yaqub would look at them and smile. He knew that Allah had blessed him a prophet among prophets, living with faith and family, spreading light in a world that often forgot gratitude. But little did he know, a great test was coming, one that would shake his heart and fill his eyes with tears. A test that would make his name a symbol of patience and faith for all generations to come. Yaqub's love for Yusuf. The night sky above Canaan was filled with stars, each one shining like a tiny lamp of mercy. Prophet Yaqub sat outside his tent, the cool wind brushing across the sand. Beside him sat his young son Yusuf, whose heart was pure and full of light. Yaqub gently placed his hand on Yusuf's shoulder. The stars above seemed to sparkle brighter, as if listening to their conversation. Yusuf looked up and said softly, Father, last night I saw a dream. I saw 11 stars, the sun and the moon. They were all bowing down to me. Yaqub smiled with love, but there was also wisdom in his eyes. He understood that this dream was not ordinary. It was a sign from Allah that Yusuf would one day be blessed with prophethood. He said lovingly, My dear son, do not tell this dream to your brothers, for they may not understand it and could become jealous. Allah has chosen you, and He will teach you the meaning of dreams. He will perfect His favor upon you, just as He did upon your forefathers, Ibrahim and Ishaq. The young Yusuf nodded quietly, his heart filled with warmth. That night, father and son sat together under the shining sky, a bond of love and faith glowing between them. No words were needed. Only the gentle light of trust in Allah surrounded them. Yaqub felt deep in his heart that his son was destined for greatness. He prayed silently, O Allah, protect my beloved Yusuf and guide him with your light. Yusuf's disappearance and Yaqub's patience. But one day, the calm of Yaqub's home was broken. Yusuf's brothers, filled with jealousy, plotted against him. They asked their father, Father, let Yusuf come with us tomorrow so he can play and run with us in the fields. Yaqub hesitated. He loved all his sons, but something in his heart felt uneasy. He said, I fear that some harm might come to him. But the brothers promised to protect Yusuf, so Yaqub reluctantly agreed, trusting in Allah's care. The next day Yusuf went with his brothers, innocent, smiling, unaware of what awaited him. Hours passed, and evening fell, but Yusuf did not return. From far Hawaii, Yaqub saw his sons coming back tired, dusty, and crying. They brought a shirt, torn and stained with false blood. Father, they cried, a wolf attacked Yusuf. We could not save him. Yaqub looked at them silently. His heart trembled, but his soul remained calm. He looked at the shirt, and somehow, deep inside, he knew the truth. This was not the work of a wolf. Something greater was being planned by Allah. With tears in his eyes and faith in his heart, he said, Your souls have made up this story, but I will bear this with beautiful patience, and Allah is the one whose help I seek. That night Yaqub stood outside his tent, holding Yusuf's torn shirt close to his chest. He looked up at the stars, the same stars that once witnessed their peaceful nights together, and whispered, O Allah, I trust you. You are the most merciful. Bring my Yusuf back when the time is right. The years of grief days turned into weeks, weeks into months, and months into years, but Yusuf did not return. Yaqub grew older. His hair turned white, his back bent with time, and his eyes weakened from crying. Yet his faith never broke. Every night, he would sit alone in his tent, lit only by a small oil lamp. He would raise his hands and pray, My Lord, only to you I complain of my sorrow and my grief. You know what is hidden in my heart? Sometimes, his sons would say, Father, will you keep remembering Yusuf until you die? But Yaqub would reply gently, I only complain of my pain to Allah. I know from Him what you do not know. Though tears fell from his eyes, there was peace in his heart, because he never lost hope in Allah. The world around him seemed dim, but inside his prayer, there was light. That is the beauty of true patience. Sabr Jameel. Beautiful patience. He taught the world that when pain becomes heavy, you still turn to Allah, not away from Him. And so, Yaqub waited. He waited through the nights and the years, knowing that Allah's promise never fails. The reunion with Yusuf then, one blessed day after many, many years, the good news came. His sons returned from Egypt with excitement in their voices. One of them carried a piece of cloth, Yusuf's shirt. They say, "Father, good news. Yusuf is alive. He is the ruler of Egypt. He has forgiven us." Yaqub could hardly believe it. He took the shirt, placed it on his face, and suddenly, by Allah's mercy, his eyesight returned. Tears of joy rolled down his cheeks as he whispered, "Did I not tell you? I know from Allah what you do not know." Soon after, Yaqub traveled to Egypt with his family, and there, in the grand hall of the king, he saw his beloved son, Yusuf. They ran toward each other and embraced tightly. No words could express that moment. The years of waiting, the tears, the prayers, all answered. The entire room filled with light and peace. Allah had reunited father and son after a lifetime of patience. Yusuf said with tears of joy, "My father, this is the fulfillment of my dream from long ago. Allah has been kind to us." And Yaqub replied, "Indeed, my son. Allah's mercy is endless for those who remain patient and thankful." The final years and legacy in his final years. Prophet